it's not obvious what the privacy issues out of this are. If you are holding this stuff, it's because you want to buy something with that stuff.
Facebook just announced Libra, its new cryptocurrency, and this is something that's exciting and really interesting, and I immediately made a video about the 17 things you should know about Libra, but I still had questions about privacy, about the political backlash, so I reached out to an economist at the Libra Association.
Well, I'm Joshua Gans. I'm a professor of economics here at the Rotman School of Management at the University of Toronto. I'm also, I have the title Chief Economist of the Creative Destruction Lab.
The Creative Destruction Lab is a startup program at the University of Toronto that is focused on science-based startups and pairs them with expert judgment. CDL works with these startups for about 9 to 12 months and helps them take stuff from the lab and put it out into the market. And over the past 6 years, they've worked with about 400 companies. CDL is now a founding member of the Libra Association, which is the governing body over the Libra cryptocurrency. The first thing I wanted to know is why the Creative Destruction Lab was excited about Libra.
You know, this is a pretty interesting venture. It's basically taking cryptocurrency into its into the establishment mainstream. When I think of my economics hat on, there's no real reason to be excited. There just seems to be a lot of work that we seem to be volunteering for and not getting paid. So that's, why would you be excited about that?
If you know anything about cryptocurrencies, you probably immediately associate them with Bitcoin. And the reason why Bitcoin is so popular in the news is because of its incredible volatility. It just goes all over the place. At one point, it was priced more than $20,000. Just 2 weeks ago, it was at $7,500, and today it's trading at over $9,000. That's a ton of volatility, and that creates a lot of uncertainty with people about what this is, why they should be interested in it.
I like to liken Bitcoin as it was a computer game. Bitcoin looks a bit more like digital gold. Okay. It's somewhere where you can put some money, but like gold, or even worse than gold, it's far more volatile in its value.
If following Bitcoin's volatile news is the only thing you know about cryptocurrencies, what should you know about Libra?
This Libre currency is going to be relatively stable. The Libra Association is looking to set in motion a digital currency that is, as global as you can be, given laws, and is meant to be actually used. It's designed to be used as a medium of exchange. If you are holding this stuff, it's because you want to buy something with that stuff.
Let's be honest here. The first time I read through the Libra documentation, I felt like this wasn't a product that was actually targeted towards me. I felt like it was targeted towards the billions of people outside the United States that don't have access to banking or financial services, that have a hard time relying on their own currencies. And so I just didn't see why this would be something that could affect me. So I asked Josh what he thought the biggest thing would be in my life that would change as a result of Libra, and he suggested that something as simple as transferring money would have huge changes, and that would be a game changer for me.
It's just really hard to send money to other people. I know in the United States you've got Venmo, so that's a thing, but that's just within the United States. Apple Pay, same, you can transfer, but within the United States. In Canada, we've got this thing called Interac, which is, it's fine, but it's a big pain in the neck. To sort of use. I should be able to give my kids money more easily than just that, let alone, sending payments across borders.
Right.
Even small reductions in transaction costs. The elasticities on these things are monumental. So,
and as I thought about this, I realized that he has a really important point. I have 4 kids, and when we hire a babysitter, one of the most onerous parts of getting that babysitter that night is remembering to actually go out and get cash to pay. I don't have an easy way of transferring money to a babysitter other than cash, and I just don't carry cash on me that often. And so if I had this way of transferring money that was much easier and widely available, that could actually improve the way that I use babysitting services.
Around the world, it might be used by, all manner of people, but I expect it'll be the youths in the United States and Canada and similar countries that might take this up first.
Libra isn't going to be available until the first half of 2020. That means over the next 6 to 12 months, the Libra Association is going to get together and hash out the details about how Libra is actually going to work. Josh likens this to a constitutional convention where all these competing interests come together and decide on what are the rules of this cryptocurrency. And he says that the CDL's main goal is making sure that the rules that they establish promote a startup environment.
Every other time you have large things get set up, standard setting organizations, etc., they're obviously being done by the firms that currently exist. And so what I'm thinking about are the firms yet to exist.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And what, is there a rule or a statement or something that is going to impact on them?
I love this idea because he's saying that the CDL and even some of these venture capital firms are there to provide for the future, for these companies that don't even exist yet. The way that CDL is handling this is saying, hey, let's come in and let's make sure we have rules that govern the way people play, but not rules that prohibit people from coming in and doing things that we've never thought of. Rules that prevent people from coming in and toppling one of you. Like, let's make sure that you guys are not protecting yourselves against the new companies that come out. Let's make sure that those new companies have a chance to compete with you. And that is something that we really need, and that makes me really excited about this constitutional convention process. If you follow the news around the Libra announcement, you probably saw the immediate political backlash. Countries around the world were condemning Libra and saying that they would not stand with Facebook or that it would require heavy regulation.
I think Facebook do anything, it gets pushback. A few weeks ago, they changed their icon on my iPhone.
Oh, right.
And they shifted the F over to the left. Signaling some political change, is it? I don't know.
I asked Josh what he thought about the political response, and his answer changed the way that I'm looking at the Libra Association.
I mean, look, Facebook could have gone and said, we're announcing, it's just us and MasterCard. And then you look at that and say, oh, well, that seems like, Facebook and MasterCard trying to lie to take over the financial, you can see that sort of discussion. But they didn't do that, right? Right. They've got 28 partners, and they gave themselves, or they didn't even give themselves, they gave their new subsidiary the same vote as apparently we have.
It seems pretty obvious that people are so focused on the Facebook name that they aren't paying attention to the innovation that's at the root of this entire announcement. And there are already 28 other companies or organizations on board with the Libra Association. Why aren't we hearing about any of these when people are protesting?
Yeah, what happened to Uber? I thought we were supposed to be all anti-Uber all the time.
Exactly.
And what about Spotify? What are they doing there? They're going to first podcast on us with this cryptocurrency. So I'm not quite sure what the policymakers want. What their concerns will be, because at least the top line concerns have been, already dealt with. I don't know anything where a company that could have had 100% control on day one decided to give itself 1%.
So what about privacy? Facebook is already under scrutiny for privacy concerns, and a lot of people are looking at Libra as the next step in a full-on invasion. When I brought it up to Josh, he actually surprised me by saying he sees it as the opposite of that.
It's not obvious what the privacy issues out of this are. I see this as Facebook moving away from all that.
Okay.
They and others. It's like the intrusion into privacy, I don't know how fruitful it's been on the upside. It's costly. It causes consumers to get upset. It causes people to be reticent at how much they use something, etc.
I really like this answer because it followed one of the thoughts I had when I heard about the announcement. This could actually mean that Facebook moves away from advertising. One of the problems is that Facebook needed a way to monetize its service, and advertising was a clear bet on that. But now that they're creating a financial service, people can go through there and Facebook will be able to make money through that arm, and they don't have to rely as much on advertising. And if they don't have to rely as much on advertising, they can reduce the efforts they do to collect data.
Apple decided long ago that that data was no use to them relative to the alternative of being, as privacy conscious as you could be. And Facebook are moving that way. There's full encryption of Messenger and WhatsApp and other things as well. It's tough in this world. I think at the very least, making privacy and what data people choose to share more of their choice and agency is a good thing.
Since you're probably interested in learning more about cryptocurrencies and crypto economics, I asked Josh for some of his recommendations on where you could go to learn more.
There's a testnet, and all the code is open sourced and available, and so there'll be some ways in which you can start learning about the code that they've developed for this. I think the book by Nathan Popper from the New York Times on crypto something or other a few years ago was good. There's this group out of Princeton that put together sort of a primer on the blockchain and the computer science, and they have lectures online on YouTube. They seem like they're a bit old, but actually they're pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay. I'll link to those resources in the description below, along with the article Josh wrote about Libra when it first came out. A big thanks to Josh Gans for coming on and talking with me about Libra. I'm interested in interviewing more people involved with Libra and the economics involved there. So if you're watching this and you have some way of reaching out and talking, let's do it, okay? Follow me on Twitter. My handle is @MarketPowerYT, and make sure you subscribe so that way you can stay updated on these videos. And I take input from my viewers to plan my future videos, so leave a comment below about what you want to see and what you need to know about Libra. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.